All right, so now that you've logged in, we're going to start the tour of Code Studio. You'll notice when you log in, you see the dashboard, and that's where you're at right now. The dashboard is the landing page. It's where you always start when you open up or when you log into Code Studio. The dashboard has a menu bar across the top. It says My Dashboard as a menu option on the left. That is what it is. It takes you back to My Dashboard. So if you click it now, it's just going to reload this page. The course catalog will show you all of the course offerings that code.org has. You could then select another course and enroll in that if you wanted to, or you could find other courses that interest you and check them out. There are also a projects link to your projects that you make through code.org's tools. So you can make projects in the full versions of their tools if you wanted to on your own once you learn more about actually doing it. On the right, we have a couple of drop-down menus. There's the Create one, which is a way to start a project real quickly through all of these tools, or, of course, another way to view all your projects again. So either here or here. And then there's your name, and your name also has a drop-down. In the drop-down there, once again, there's another link to My Projects. So you can get to the list of your projects. You can adjust your account settings, or you can sign out. There's a help button that'll take you to help. And then there's also a menu that takes you to all of the menu options for the main code.org site. So code.org is an organization that sponsors or is interested in helping students learn computer science. And they're providing curriculum. But there's also more to learn about them. So they have a whole bunch of stuff on their main website that you can access there. My dashboard is divided into several sections. The first one, if you scroll down a little bit, is My Courses. My Courses will list any courses that you've enrolled in, whether you've enrolled through a teacher or you've enrolled on your own. We'll get back to this in a moment, but know that you'll have your courses here. And you'll see usually at the top is going to be whatever the current course is and the current unit of the current course. And then you'll have maybe other courses down below. And you can always find the course by clicking this button here, and you'll go to the course. Or you go to the course catalog and find another course. We have the project section, where you can once again click on this link or this link to get a full list of your projects. You can also click on any of these links to start a new project in those. Okay. The last section is the classroom sections portion. It's just like I've said, we showed you before. This is where you would join a section. If you had a section code, you enter your section code here and click Join Section, or you can see your sections here. So you should see the section that's called something like AP CSP first period or second period, courses Computer Science Principles 2021, and then I'm the teacher, and then you'll see your section code here. And that's pretty much all there is to the dashboard. And the dashboard is where you end up whenever you log in. I'm going to scroll back up though to My Courses, because we'll look at that a little more in depth, and then we'll go to the actual course. So in My Courses, it's kind of split into two kind of sections. There's a section up here that has the current unit of the current curriculum listed, tells you what you're currently working on, and then you can continue where you left off or just view the whole course. So if you click View Course, you'll go to the whole course and see all of the units. Clicking Continue Lesson takes you directly to the next lesson or wherever you left off. Clicking either of the boxes or any of the boxes that are kind of half the width will take you directly to the course. So those are just links to the course pages. It's the entire box, though. You don't have to click on the specific View Course link here. It links the entire box. So either click View Course or click your Computer Science Principles box to go to that course. When you get to the course page has the course at the very top, just the name, and then it lists all of the units. And you can see as you scroll down, you'll see a total of 10 units in this course. So this course went through a kind of a redesign this past year, and they changed a bunch of things about the units, kind of reformatted the units. So I'm still getting used to the new unit structure a little bit, but I think I'll be okay with that. The units, each one has a button in it that says go to unit, and then you'll probably see in your unit 4 a little green box that says assigned, and that's just to let you know which unit we're going to focus on. It doesn't mean you can't access and do work in other units. It just means that's the one we're focused on. Today, we're actually going to be going to a different unit than Unit 4. We'll start Unit 4 on Monday. So I want you to click Go to Unit on CSP Unit 3 Intro to App Design. Okay. When you click Go to Unit, you end up in the Unit page. In the Unit page, it's split into a bunch of different lessons, and then each lesson has a bunch of different levels that you do. Okay. You probably should notice that the first lesson is going to be expanded, and that the other lessons are going to be collapsed. These you can toggle collapsing and expanding using by clicking the lesson name or where the arrow is, and that will toggle collapsing and expanding the lesson. It helps to have just the lesson you're working on expanded so that you can focus on what you're doing. Also at the top, there's a continue button that'll continue from wherever you left off in that unit. And then the get help button so you can get help when you need it. On the right, there are toggle buttons between views. So this is kind of the main view that has the expandable boxes. And then this is the kind of shorter view that just shows the name of each lesson and then the progress in these bubbles. And so each lesson has these bubbles. These bubbles represent levels. Those levels are different depending on what icon you see in the bubble. They have names over here, and then the bubbles are numbered on this side, and they have little icons. The little monitor icon will tell you that it's an activity level where you're going to do something. There's a little camera for a video level where you're going to watch a video, and then there's a little list, kind of bulleted list level that's actually it's a check for understanding. It's a level where you're going to answer a question. You'll also notice there's a little purple check mark next to this level. That means it is a level where you submit something. And then once you submit it, I can give you feedback on that. So you'll in this case, it's a check for understanding. So you're going to, in that level, you would check that you're going to, you would do the question, click submit, and then I could see the answer, and then I could give you feedback on it. Or you're going to answer a question, maybe like type out a question and answer it. You'll notice that sometimes there's just a one level in a bubble, and then sometimes there are multiple levels, and that's just because sometimes there are levels that are linked together. Either it's like one whole project or they're just related to one another. So it's like a continuous, a single kind of piece of the lesson. So in this case, if it's multiple levels, it'll list all the levels here and then have a little L and then show you all the individual bubbles so you can go to individual ones. And you'll notice all these are clickable. So all of the individual levels are clickable. If it's got a white background, it's clickable anyway. White backgrounds mean you haven't started them yet, at least white backgrounds with a gray outline. If it's got a green outline instead, it means you've started it, but you haven't completed it. And then a green fully filled in is a fully finished level. So we're going to go to lesson 1, level 1 by clicking the number 1 bubble, and it's the lesson overview. And you're going to see the screen change, and it changes pretty significantly. we see an overview that describes what the overview of the lesson is, and we also have some resources here. Right? Notably, at the top, we have a lesson title that's clickable that you can go back to the lesson if you need to, and then we have a progress indicator. And that'll help you know how far through the lesson you've got, how close you are to finishing, how many levels you've accomplished, and also what level you're on. So the level you're on is going to be larger. It's going to have the number in it. If it's green, it means you've already completed it. With reading levels, you're already going to complete it. With other levels, it takes a little more work to complete it. So then as you get done with levels, you can click the continue button to move on. Okay. If you need to navigate between levels, you can click more, or navigate between lessons, you can click more and access lessons. So we got the shorthand view here, and then we have like the regular view here. So you can navigate actually between lessons, or you can go to the unit overview and all that. So it makes it really easy to navigate. And you still have your menu up here. This might change, these options might change depending on what level you're on. And then these are just the same as they were. So we're going to click continue to go on to the next level. In the next level, we have this change once more. So the level indicators here, the progress indicators here, but then we have also underneath here, we have an indicator telling us how often it's been saved, or the last time it was saved. On the left, we have what looks like a phone, and that's intentional because that's your screen. It's like you're working on a phone. That's the idea of this curriculum, is that we're going to be doing apps for smartphones. At the bottom is a run button that if you click it, it runs whatever program, and then it turns to reset, and you can click it to reset and run again. Once you do that, you can click finish, and finish will move you on to the next level. So in reading levels, it'll say continue, or video levels, it will say continue. When you click on finish, or when you run a program, you can click finish, and then it'll go on to the next level. With the partner, these are in the instructions. We're not actually going to do this. I'm just saying we're going to do the these are where the instructions are. So in every level, you're going to see instructions here. If it's just a level where you're investigating something like this, you'll only see instructions. But in other levels, you'll see a coding area for you to do your work in. So that way you can check out, or you can do the work that's being asked. You can follow the instructions here and do the work down here. And we're going to check out that in a moment. So I'm going to click more, and then I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to go to this lesson 6, Intro to Programming, and we're going to click level 2, because I want to show you what the coding levels look like so you can see them. So as you can see, we get a change here. We still have our phone here with our screen. We still have our instructions up here. And then down here, we have the coding area. And it's divided into 3 parts. The part at the bottom is the debug console. I'm not going to go too deep into this. We'll get more into it as we get further in. So we are going to see messages during our the running of our program down here in the debug console. The rest of it is divided into 2 main parts. There's a toolbox that has all of the code or all the commands you're going to need for a given level. The toolbox changes depending on the level, so it only gives you the code you need for that level. It doesn't give you all the code you can use. The commands are divided into groups. You can see which group you're on by looking for the fully filled in rectangle. They're color coded, so it makes it a little bit easier to see what's what. Other ones are going to have mostly white background with a little bit of color on the left-hand side. You can click this button to hide the toolbar, and then or the toolbox, and then click it again to show the toolbox one more time. If you click here, you can manage the assets, which is just files and stuff. We're not going to worry too much about that. The rest of this area is the workspace. This is where you're actually doing your coding. You're going to see numbers here for line numbers. It helps you with debugging. It helps you know how many lines you've written. It's nice to have so you can reference. And then we have a couple of buttons up here. There's the version history, which you can click and you can actually see all the versions that have been saved along the way. So as you do work, as I said, when you look up here, this is going to tell you how recently this was saved. And every time it gets saved, it's going to have another version here. So if you do something and you can't figure out how to undo it or get back to where it was, you can click version history and then select the version you want, or you can start completely over. And if you start completely over, there are some lessons or some levels that have starter code. If you start completely over, it's going to start over with the starter code. And then there's this show text button. When we click the show text button, it switches from the blocks to the text. And then we can click show blocks to put it back. So the way we code is we're going to drag things from the toolbox into the workspace. And that puts them in the workspace, and then we can change anything that's in a white box. Sometimes, if we want to correct something, showing the text is an easier way to correct it, because then we can just navigate through the text and find the spot and fix it. Sometimes people like to use text at all times. That's fine. That's up to you. Even if you're in text, you can click and drag over here, and it'll place the code in there as text. So it's not like you can't use text in the same way. You can still click and drag things over while you're in text mode. So that's going to be totally up to you, though. If you want to work in blocks, work in blocks. If you want to work in text, work in text. Sometimes, as I said, even if you like working in blocks, working in text is going to be easier sometimes to make corrections. So that's about it. That's it, really. You can now go back and really assess yourself on this topic. So thanks.